Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Gunner here, bringing another Arsenal talk. In this Arsenal talk, I'll cover the Leicester City game. Just starting off by saying, like I said on Twitter, um, Arsene Wenger, your tactics are terrible. They're not just terrible; they fucking suck. They are fucking terrible. If he's sitting on the fucking sidelines, we're watching it on TV. And if you can't identify that formation is a piece of shit that does not work, then he's completely lost it. This is what, 5 games now into the season. There is no way in hell that we shouldn't have scored at least 3 goals today. But because of the formation, because of the positioning of the players, because of the players on the fucking pitch, we can't even score more than 1 goal. We haven't scored more than 2 goals in this season already. And with that type of talent, with that type of attacking talent, there is no reason why we shouldn't. But there is a reason. The formation fucking sucks. The tactics are all wrong. And it's pissing the living shit out of me because Leicester City, they weren't doing anything special today. They weren't well organized. They weren't like a Crystal Palace in the first game where they were really well organized, where they put all 11 behind the ball. They didn't put all 11 behind the ball. Leicester City had 2 strikers almost all the way up top the entire fucking game. They even had a winger at some points all the way up top. They had 3 attacking players up top almost all, even in the second half. But because of the formation, because of the player positioning, like Mesut Ozil, playing on the left side, playing on the wings, what a waste! What a fucking waste! And I guess you can just tell I'm furious right now. Watching that game, watching this season so far. You're taking one of the best number 10s in the fucking world, and you're playing him on the wing. Why? Because Jurgen Loh did it in the fucking World Cup? He thinks it's going to work too? It's not Germany. It's not. You have almost world-class players at every single position on that German side in the World Cup, where you can get away with something like that. But again, Germany had so many injuries that they were forced to play that type of formation. They were forced to play Ozil on the wing and kind of waste his talent, because that's all you're doing. That's all you're doing is wasting his talent. And Santi Cazorla, sit his ass down, because he was terrible today again. The only time he ever looked good this season was when he came off the bench against Everton. That was it, as a sub. And as far as Arsene Wenger subs as well, of course, it's a shame that Koscielny got injured. Let me go into that a little bit right here. Anytime you have a head injury, I wish the FA would take a stance on this. I'm from United States, obviously, and the NFL has just started to implement rules on concussions and head injuries just now, in one of the most violent games in the world is the NFL. And they're just starting to implement rules on head injuries. Especially for football players where they don't have any headgear, they don't have any protection whatsoever. If you get a head injury, if you have blood coming out of your head, you should be automatically sent off, subbed in. Somebody else should come in automatically, because that's a player's safety right there. That's a player's life that you're messing with, that you're allowing him to even go on back on the pitch, which is ridiculous. Because you could even see when he was laying on the pitch, when he even sat up, that he looked dazed. And of course, what happened, as he came back onto the pitch, we gave up a goal because he just wasn't all there. And then he finally came off. So I wish the FA would implement some rules right away, even now, that if you get a head injury, if there is blood coming from your head, you should be automatically sent off, because that's a player's safety. That the referee should even notice that as well. That there should be some rule implemented within the BPL that says if blood is drawn on your head, because if blood is drawn on your head, you have a 100% chance almost that you have a concussion. Unless you're some softy. I mean, it takes a lot to. It takes a really hard blow to your head to draw blood. And even the commentator said it on the game that he had two staples put into his head. He should have been sent. He should have been never allowed to go back on the pitch. So I wish the BPL would and the FA would implement some rules right away for that, because it's a player's safety. But going back into the tactics, I mean, the tactics are just all wrong. And I said this on Twitter. I wrote out a tweet saying that, hey, Arsenal fans, remember when last season when Ozil and Ramsey were bossing the midfield? And when they were doing that, Ozil was in his number 10 position, Ramsey was in his CM position. They were in a 4-2-3-1. And they bossed that midfield, regardless of who they were playing. They were running shit. Now they don't have the opportunity to do that because you're wasting Mesut Ozil on the left side. And you're wasting Aaron Ramsey. Because Aaron Ramsey doesn't have those pockets of spaces that he can run into now. Because with this 4-3-3, the midfield is so congested. And Santi, he's just, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just all over the pitch. He's giving the ball away. He's all over. He's running into spaces that Ramsey's trying to run into. And if you give Santi Cazorla anything above like a 3 or 4, you're fucking nuts. A 3 or 4 rating on this game, because he was awful. And he's been awful since the beginning of the season. And there's no reason why he should be out on the pitch. Period. Especially when you look on our bench. They mentioned even in before, if you look at the subs on the bench, there was one defender on the bench, and that was Chambers, and of course he had to come in for Koscielny. The rest of the bench were attackers, other than the goalkeeper. But yet, they just sat there. They sat there until the 75th minute. His substitutions are fucking awful. It almost makes me want to pull my fucking hair out because they're so awful. There is no reason why Sinovel and Santi shouldn't have been coming off by the 60th minute. Even the 55th minute. I would have subbed out Sinovel at halftime, because if you can't score against Leicester City, who weren't doing anything special whatsoever, you got some serious problems. I'm really praying for that kid that he can pan out, but right now he's not the answer. And of course, we saw right in like the middle of the first half or something like that, it was announced that Like.Remy is joining Chelsea, which is just another kind of like, oh shit. And one person that I follow on here says, it's just total stubbornness. It is. When you get up to that age, you're completely stubborn. You just okay, I'm just gonna do this and it's gonna work no matter what, and we're gonna ride this out. That's Arsene Wenger's tactics right now, and that's ridiculous. He's setting his players up to fail. That's exactly what he's doing right now. Is setting his players up to fail. Ozil on the wings, fucking ridiculous. Having a congested midfield, ridiculous. I rather see Joel Campbell out there up top than Sinovel. I rather see Sanchez there. I rather see when Theo comes back. Hopefully, when he comes back, everything changes. Because right now, it's fucking awful. The fact that we can't score more than 2 goals against Crystal Palace, we can't score more than 1 goal against fucking Leicester City, who weren't doing anything special. I'm not going to give them any credit whatsoever. Defensively, they weren't doing anything special. They weren't covering 11 behind the ball. They weren't parking the bus against us. They were trying to get us on a counter, like all game, but they weren't parking 11 people behind the ball. They always had at least 2 or 3 attackers up front near our back line the entire game. But Arsene Wenger, he just didn't want to make any switches. Podolski and Ox came on 15 minutes too late. It's just awful. I don't know how you can sit there on the sidelines in this chair and say, okay, this definitely works. It doesn't. I'm just a regular fan, and I can even see that it doesn't work. I haven't been following this game my entire life, but I can see that it doesn't fucking work, and everybody else can see it. Even the fucking newspapers are saying Ozil's being wasted on the left side. When they're saying that shit, I mean, you better pay attention. You better start paying attention, because when they start saying that stuff, and it's like, holy shit, I'm agreeing with the newspapers. I'm agreeing with papers like the Telegraph and the Metro and all those other shitty newspapers that are in the UK who just talk endless amounts of shit just to get clicks, just for Arsenal fans to click on their page and so they can appease their advertisers. It's a shit show right now. That's all it is. Going into this game, I was thinking, okay, we're going to score at least 3 or 4 goals, because in the beginning of the game, before, everybody's saying, okay, we're going back to 4-2-3-1, and then all of a sudden, the game starts and you see Ozil on the fucking left side, hugging the touchline. I'm just like, oh my fucking god, what a fucking waste. Right when I saw that, I was like, you know what? We'll be lucky if we get a tie out of this. And on top of it, when you have that formation, there's just not enough goal scorers on the pitch. You're asking Mesut Ozil to play a position that he's not accustomed to, that he doesn't even pretty much like. I mean, if he was actually honest, he held an interview with the Telegraph, which was a great interview actually, talking about the World Cup and his time with Arsenal. The dude loves Arsenal. The dude loves playing for Arsenal. He loves the fans. And he loves the praise that we give him. But he's not going to go against Arsene and anything like that. He's not going to make waves in the locker room. He's not going to make waves in the media. He's going to be PC, and he's going to be like, oh yeah, I love playing on the left side. I love playing on the wings. Blah blah blah. I'm not used to it, but I can adapt to it. Pfft, fuck that shit. You're one of the best number 10s in the world. He should be playing in that fucking role. Because like I said last year, I mean, him and Ramsey, they bossed that midfield last year. I mean, they played off of each other the entire game. When they were both fit, when they were both healthy, playing alongside each other. I mean, there wasn't a better midfield probably in the PL other than maybe Man City, with like Silva and Yaya Toure. Other than that, there wasn't a better midfield in the Premier League last year. They ran shit. They were the quarterbacks. They produced everything last year for us. And now Arsene's just taking that away. Because like I said, Ramsey doesn't have his holes to run into. He had a couple opportunities today. But if you compare his game last year to this year, I mean, there were so many opportunities for Aaron Ramsey last year when we were playing in that 4-2-3-1, when we actually had like wingers. And the fucked up thing about it is we have 2 wingers, even 3 if you want to even count Lucas Podolski, Oxlade-Chamberlain, even Joel Campbell, sitting on the bench, who know how to play those wing spots, who know how to stretch the field, who know how to get defenders out of position, to stretch that field. Alexis Sanchez was doing it all by himself today. Now, like I said, Santi, he just needs to go away for a little while and reboot or something. Go get laid or something. Something needs to happen with that guy. Because every time he's on the pitch, it just keeps on getting worse. Just within the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, he gave the ball away like 3 or 4 times. And that's like one of his natural positions, and he's still sucking it up. And it's just terrible to see that Arsene Wenger's continuing on with these tactics. It doesn't make any sense. And of course, we're about 36 hours away from the transfer window closing up. And if you look at everything, any type of rumors, there's nothing out there for us. I mean, Remy was like the closest thing. Cavallo, I mean, who knows if that guy's going to be coming or not? Who knows if anybody's going to be coming or not? Honestly, I don't think anybody is. I think the team that we have now, that's going to be it. That's it. I don't mind if we don't go out and get another striker, but you can't put Sinovel up there. He's not strong enough either. He was just getting pushed around left and right. He doesn't have the strength yet to play a game like Olivier Giroud, where he's strong, where he can hold off defenders. He can win those headers, where he can hold the ball up. He's just not strong enough. He doesn't have the body, he just doesn't have the feet right now. Because he should be sent out on loan, but we don't have that, we don't have that luxury right now. When Theo comes back, the 2 strikers, even the 3 strikers, should be in order. Should be Sanchez, Walcott, and then Campbell. And honestly, I almost rather push Campbell up there all damn day and have him and Sanchez switch out every other game or whatever. Because if you saw in the World Cup the way Campbell played, he was amazing up top. He held the ball up. He can go after those headers. He's strong enough. He's a big boy. And he has a pace. And he has a skill. He has a deadly left foot. But yet, he's sitting on the bench. All of our guys were sitting on the bench until the 75th minute. His substitutions are fucking awful. Because we needed to make a change in the 55th minute, in the 60th minute. But no, we waited until the very last minute, almost, to make a switch. The 75th, 77th minute, to make a switch, finally. There's no reason why we should have won that game. We lost points today. We lost 2 points today because of that game. That's like going back to last season when we played West Brom. When we had a tie at their place. And we lost points. Even the Southampton game last year when we played them at Southampton. We lost points that day because of the way we played. And this is early in the season. This is when you need to start winning games early, when you need to have a good start, and when you need to start separating yourself from everybody else. Because right now, Chelsea, that Chelsea thing is that's the real deal. You saw that game against Everton. I mean, I watched that game and I just, I'm scratching my fucking head. I'm just like, there's no way we're winning the league over Chelsea this year. There's no way. Right now, there's no way at all. 1, because we don't have a real striker. Number 2, we don't have a real DM. I like Flamini, but he's not that power horse that we need. He's not that physical presence. That 6'1", 6'2" physical presence right in the middle. That intimidating factor like a Matic or a Yaya Toure. Even a Ferrandino, for Christ's sake. When you look at a Chelsea or even a Man City, they have an embarrassment of riches in that DM spot. Even Mikel is better than, Arteta and Flamini. Because he's that physical presence and he's not afraid to, and he's tall and he's big. He's just that physical presence that he needs, and he's smart. He knows how to play that position. Flamini does too, but he gets a little wacky sometimes. He goes off the deep end. He doesn't have that discipline sometimes where I saw it even today where he went in both feet, studs up on trying to make a challenge. And if you're a real DM, you can't have that. You have to have that discipline to not do that. But today's game, it was just a shit show. The tactics were all wrong. The subs were all wrong. The subs are right, but they just came in too late in the game. We can't have games like this where we have to be scoring late in the game to scrape out a win. Because like I said, I'm not going to give any credit to Leicester City at all. They didn't do anything special today, defensively. There's no reason why we shouldn't have scored 3-4 goals today. The way they were set up defensively. And if you look at who are the goal scorers on the pitch for Arsenal to start the game, Alexis Sanchez, Aaron Ramsey. That's it. Sinovel hasn't scored yet. Santi is he's in La La Land. I don't know what he's doing. His form is completely gone. That 12 and 13 season was great for him. He played amazing in the 12 and 13 season. Ever since then, he went bye-bye. So we only had 2 legitimate goal scorers on that pitch to start the game. When you have Lucas Podolski, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Joel Campbell all sitting on the bench. All sitting on the bench until the 75th, 77th minute. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like I said, one of my Twitter followers said it perfectly in one word: stubbornness. It's amazing that everybody else can see this crap, but the actual manager can't see it, and he'll just say, "Well, the media and the fans, they all have their opinions, and they all criticize." But if we're all fucking saying it, and he's the only one that's not saying it, we're gonna get our asses kicked next week against Man City, because on top of it, Man City's coming off after a loss. And every time they have a loss, they come back and they pretty much beat the shit out of whoever the next team is. And that's at home. We're gonna get our asses kicked next week, unless something changes. The tactics need to change. The formation, the player positioning, all needs to change. And like I said, if Sinovel can't score against Leicester City, you need to send that kid out alone. Because I just don't know what to say about him anymore. This whole game and this whole start of the season, it's a head scratcher. This is one of the worst starts of the season that I've seen in a while. Last season you could say, well, the Aston Villa game was awful, but we bounced back right away. That next game against Fenerbahce, we showed what we're all about. We showed that we played like the Arsenal way. And we played aggressive, and we attacked, and we took shots, and we scored goals. So we bounced back right away. We haven't bounced back at all this entire season. We haven't shown that aggressiveness. Like I said, 36 hours until the transfer window closes, and honestly, I don't see anybody coming in. Because I think I would have thought it would have happened already. Because if you start buying now, it's basically just a panic buy from this point on. Chelsea wasn't even near Luke Remy or even contemplating of getting him. But you have Fernando Torres going over to AC Milan. All of a sudden they need another striker. And what do? They give him what they want. They activate his release clause, and okay, you want 90,000 a week? Okay, fine. Here's a check. Go put on a shirt and play for us, and give us another goal scoring threat. I think we'll still finish top 4, but it's going to be tough. Another tweet I saw today too was kind of funny, of so many people criticizing Giroud and Arteta, and now everybody's screaming, "Oh, I can't wait till they come back." Another thing about Arsene Wenger, we've been screaming about the transfer window for the last umpteen years, and now all of a sudden he's buying. But now all of a sudden he forgets how to be a manager. He can't see that his tactics are all wrong. And luckily for Szczesny and luckily for our back four is good enough to withstand an attack and play well. Because if we didn't have that back line, we'd be fucked. We would seriously be fucked because we would be up against it. We would be playing from behind all the time. Because you can see the players are confused running around the pitch. So I wish you would just, maybe he's playing FIFA 14 or something like that, and he's thinking, well, this works on here. Maybe I'll try this. Yeah, it's not a fucking video game, dude. So I don't know how you can continuously sitting on the sidelines and thinking, well, this is gonna work. You're wasting one of the best number 10s in the world on the wings. You have two capable strikers on the bench, and Campbell and Podolski. But he likes those tall guys. But what's like the media and even teammates. I mean, you look at Philipp Lahm, what he said during the summertime. You give Mesut Ozil the right type of striker, that pacey striker, he's gonna find him and he's gonna just feed him all day long. Okay, we went out and got, Sanchez. Campbell came back from loan, both pacey. Theo's going to be coming back, but yet Sinovel is our starting striker. What was the difference between the Everton game and this game of why he didn't make a change? Why not bring Ox on at halftime? Put Sanchez up top. Why not bring Campbell into the game, take Sinovel off, leave it as is? Or even switch the formation. He just didn't want to do any of that. Like I said, stubbornness to the T. But I think I bitched long enough. I mean, like 28 minutes or whatever. So, but leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think. What do we need to do? Formation needs to change. We need to go back to that 4-2-3-1. We need to have Aaron Ramsey and Ozil bossing the midfield like we did last season. If it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. That's that's the model that you should be using right now. Because it wasn't broke last year, that's for sure. It got us 4th place. We were 7 points off from the top. But obviously he thinks it's broke because he's trying to appease other people, trying to get him on the pitch. Fuck them. These players should be focused on one thing, winning. That's it. Winning and winning trophies. If they don't get on the pitch for a certain amount of time, oh, well, cry me a fucking river. Go get a fucking Kleenex. Go take an enema and just collect your fucking overpriced paycheck every week. Go cry somewhere else. And Arsene Wenger, get your head out of your fucking ass.